high school kid in Montana. And one person, Montana, okay? It is a United States state. It's the fourth largest one by land mass, but still maybe only 1 million people live there. It's very popular because of Yellowstone now, so we appreciate it, at least some people know, but I don't own a horse. Okay. So the worst thing happened for me at my maturity level in high school. I fell in love. And I fell in love with my high school sweetheart. We thought we were going to get married. I was going to stay in my hometown, which is a small town, and I was going to say I was going to become a landscaper. I was already pushing them over, and I already making enough money to buy a used car, a 1988 Nissan Sentra that was four colors of Bondo. But I had a car, and she wanted to go to college. I didn't, but I was so in love. I was like, I'd go to college with her, I guess. I didn't know what to do with my life. None of my family had ever been to a 4-year college, so I didn't really know much about it. But she wanted to go. I said, okay, so I welded a hitch to the back of that 1988 Nissan Sentra. And I hitched up a U-Haul, a little 6x9 U-Haul, and I went over Rogers Pass, which is Rocky Mountain Pass, with all of our stuff in the back of it. We moved into the same door, and yeah, some of the guys are laughing because you're like, you don't hitch anything to a 1988 Nissan Sentra, just so you know, and pull it up a Rocky Mountain. Don't do that. Well, we go to school together, and because I don't know what I want to do, we sign up for all our classes together. We have the same friends from school there. I don't have a major, so I take the same major she has. I don't know. And my whole life is ingrained. Well, then, halfway through the semester, she discovered beer and other boys, and she cheated. Wow, thank you. I'm going to send her that audio. No, okay. I had a point. Okay. Well, I told you the worst thing that happened to me, because the truth is, as a 19-year-old man, I grew up in a very violent place. I grew up in an economically depressed mining town. My parents working full-time between the two of them, never made $40,000 a year, even until my dad passed. It was not, we just didn't have a lot, and they were always working so hard, but we just didn't have a lot. And the truth is, where I grew up, there was a lot of alcoholism and difficulty, and the way you got punished, even in school back then, was you got smacked where I grew up. It was a small town. Well, because of all that, I didn't have a lot of emotional maturity, let's call it. So when that relationship ended, I didn't have the emotional tools to deal with it. Have you ever been in a place where all of your identity is tied up into a relationship, and then the relationship ends, and you don't know how to deal with it because you were so tied up into it? So the relationship falls apart, I fall apart. I fall into a deep depression. I can't get out of my college dorm room. I'm eating terrible food. My friends are coming over. They're trying to motivate me to get up, come to class or go out. I can't do anything. I just sit there miserable in my own filth, which I know is not totally abnormal for a college freshman, but I was in the depths of despair. I didn't want to go to class because she was there. I didn't want to go to the bar because she was there. I didn't want to hang out with my friends because she was there. And so I just laid there in my filth. That depression became suicidal ideation. And then I started planning to take my life. And fortunately, two things really changed my life. One was I was always a reader. I always read books. I was a bookish kid. I'm a bigger nerd than you even think. I know you think I'm a geek already. It's way bigger than that. This is my professional. Okay. So I would read, and my friends would come and they'd throw the school newspaper or a book on my bed, trying to, come on, Brendan. And one day I picked up the school newspaper, and I was flipping through it, and right there, this huge full-page ad changed my life forever. I still remember what it looked like. It was a white sandy beach, perfect turquoise waters, blue sky with a wisp of cloud, big palm tree with green blasting leaves, and then across the headline, the best marketing copy I'd ever seen, perfect for a kid like me, across the top it said, "Escape Yeah. Summertime jobs available for students in the Dominican Republic. Now, you all caught the part, I'm from Montana. I didn't know where that was. But I knew she wouldn't be there. So I take the job. I go down with an entrepreneur and a friend that I knew, and I basically become like a glorified tour guide. I'm showing people around the island, I'm taking them scuba diving, I'm taking them out on the beach, I'm taking them shopping, I'm taking them around the resorts. And one night, my friend and I, Kevin, were returning from the client's house. It's late at night. He hops in the driver's side. We're cruising down this road, 85 miles an hour. And I'll tell you, all the windows were down, and that fresh, humid Dominican air is coming in. At night, I mean, we're flying down the road. On the radio is that song by Tom Cochrane, "Life is a highway, I want to ride it." Only the gray-haired knew with that. It's okay, me too. It's okay. It's okay, but we're proud of it. Hey, look at my Insta backstage. They have a picture of the MGM Garden Arena and Def Leppard, and that was the first one I took, not the Drake one, the Def Leppard one. So I'm just telling you, I got some great. Okay. So the song is playing. We're going down this road. We're at the top of our lungs singing the song, and that depressed kid, I feel like he's flying away. We're going down the road, sing at the top, and we come upon a corner that in the United States would have had one of those big, sharp U-turn shaped arrows, yellow sign, sharp corner, slow down, 15 miles an hour, danger. We're going 85. We go around the corner. Kevin, I just see him. I look over. He grabs the wheel. "Brendan, hold on!" Grabs the wheel. And I brace like this. And what happened at that corner became the turning point that brought me here for you today. Changed my life forever. I go in that corner and I brace. And I remember thinking later about what was happening. When you're sliding into death's doorway and you feel that terror of life, that fear is just a simple impulse. It's a question. It's like the generation of caring about life, and you just wonder, if this is it, did I live? If you have a moment of cognition before you crash into death's doorway, you wonder if you lived. And it is scary when life is threatened if you don't know that you did. Everyone in this room, you have to know one of the essential questions at the end of your life will be, did I live it? Did I live my life? My life, authentically, vibrantly, joyously, purposefully? Was I present and really alive? Aliveness is what everybody wants right now, but they don't know what they're chasing. It's that presence and that vibrancy and that enthusiasm. You gotta have it. The car starts skidding sideways. Kevin's screaming, I'm screaming, bolted like this. The car starts shimmering sideways, and that slow motion thing happens. Some of you know what I mean. We were 85 miles an hour. It was like this, but it went so slow in my mind. We slid off the road and we hit this little retainer wall, rocks and bricks and boulders that they were using to irrigate a nearby sugarcane field. We hit it, boom, 85 miles an hour. Pop! Car pops up, bam! I hit my head on the door. And I start seeing all these images. It's not like in the movies where it was this omniscient viewpoint. I could see little Brendan growing up and getting more handsome. I don't know. Actually, I saw scenes through my life from my eyes. So it was like at my 12th grade birthday, there was the table in front of me, the cake in front of me, my mom singing that goofy song. My friend's trying to keep up. I saw a scene, I was looking over and my sister was swinging next to me on our backyard swing set my dad had built. And we were swinging and smiling. And I could see her and I could feel this ka-chunk. Because when you build that backyard swing set, that one pole always comes out. And what happens for you is you start seeing scenes in your life when you're surrounded by people you love. And it makes you wonder, Did I love? Did I love? Did I live through my heart? And of course, I hated the even impulse of thinking of it, because you do think who's going to miss you in a split second and who you're going to miss in a split second because you see their faces. At least that's what happened for me. And if that's true, for me, I hadn't loved, I hadn't felt my heart in months. I was brokenhearted, so I pushed everyone away, because sometimes when you're hurt, you build up all these walls to block out the bad guys, but in building up those walls, who else do you block out? The good guys. Sometimes in your own heartbreak, you block out the next levels of love and joy and life for yourself, and that was true for me. The car hits the ground, rolls several times. I get completely knocked out. When I come to, Kevin is screaming at the top of his lungs, "Brendan, get out of the car, get out of the car." I look over, and his eyes are wild and open like this, and his head is open. "Get out of the car!" And he climbs up the driver's side window. I'm in shock. I don't know what's happening. Is the car blowing up? Are we on fire? What's happening? He's screaming, screaming, screaming. I go to get outside the door. It won't open. I go outside the window. It's not open. All I have is in front of me is this windshield. And so I push through the windshield, and I stand on the crumpled hood of this car, looking down, and he's screaming, but now his sound is going away because I'm faint and I'm in shock. I feel like I'm going to pass out, and I just feel like life draining out of me with all this blood now going onto the hood of the car. And I looked down and I thought, did I even matter? You know, was there a reason I was here? Was there... I almost passed out, and I looked down, and there was a glint, a reflection on the hood of the car where the blood was going off, and it made me look up. And there was this bright, big, beautiful moon that night. I'd never even seen it that night earlier, but the blueness was emanating across the whole sky. And I looked up and I connected, and I just felt this immediate peace that I was going to be okay. I took a breath. And I had this moment that later on, I called Life's Golden Ticket. It was my first book. I felt like the big guy had reached down and handed me Life's Golden Ticket, like a second pass, like a second chance, you know? It was like, here you go, son. You can still live, you can still love, you can still matter, but now you know the clock is ticking. And I remember getting that moment, that ticket, that breath, that feeling I was going to be okay. And I just remember saying, thank you, God. I just felt like I will earn this. I will earn this life. I will earn this second chance. I will earn this opportunity. I will earn this breath. I will earn this time you've given me, God. I will work for it. I will show up for it. I want more scenes of love in my life. I want to live my life. I want to do something with my life. I didn't know what to do. I was 19, but now I know the clock is ticking. God, I am in this game. And that second on that hood is what changed my life. That very second. I don't want to ruin the story for anybody. I lived. I'm okay. I'm still here. And so are you. Raise your hand and say, I'm here. I'm here. Kevin, my friend, and I, we both survived. Lots of blood, lots of injuries. By the time I went back to school, back into college, that scared young man who didn't know anybody, now I was alive. Everyone started going, just like you had it in your life, what's wrong with you? Did you drink the Kool-Aid down there in Dominican? What's wrong with you? You're so alive. I said, what's wrong with you? You're so dead. When you make a change in your life, a lot of people won't get it. But I was a depressed kid. I came back a kid in spirit, in life, ready. And I made a decision. And I want to give you this first thing, because you got to do this every day. And here it is, this first line. You need to make this day a turning point. If you didn't know it, what you want more right now is more aliveness. If you didn't know it, you want more love. If you didn't know it, you want more meaning, to matter, to make a difference. But here's the deal. Many people will leave an event like this, and they didn't make it the turning point. Do you know how many arenas around the world I told my car accident story? Someone comes up to me afterwards, a great leader, a CEO, Brendan. I also had a car accident that threatened my life, but I didn't change after it. I've met people from around the world who had major, scary situations and traumas and dramas, and they didn't change. And it's always like, well, why didn't they change? And everyone wants to pile all the psychology on it, which is fine too. And sometimes we need support. We'll talk about that. But the truth is, many people will never make the demarcation line go, on this side, I am different from this day, from now on, let's go, higher gear, live life, make a difference, change the world. If that's you, say, I'm here.
I'm here.
If that's you, say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Because at some point, that's the difference. You decide. Some of you are going to decide you're going to go get licensed and you're going to go all in and you're going to make this happen, and it's going to change your life, change your family's life, and change other people's life as a ripple effect forever. Forever. Some of you will go in that strength, in that decision. I'm all in. Let's do this. Let's get back in it. Some of you leaders, when you've been dogging it a little bit, the truth is, you had a turning point. You made a lot. You had a good success turning point, but then you never made a new one. So you're coasting. You need to make yourself a decision. That's what this is for. Not from me, for you. You got your journal. I don't need to tell you your answer. You already know it. Most of you are more successful than me already. You have to decide now what's the next level for you. And you've got to drive yourself for that. That's the secret. Some people don't make those demarcation lines in life. I said I will no longer be a sad, angry, disgruntled young man who can't handle his emotions, who doesn't have any goals, who treats people bad. No. And that's what got me studying personal development. Just like all of you. The Napoleon Hills, the Dale Carnegies, and the Earl Nightingales, and the Jim Rohns, and the Wayne Dyers, Brian Tracy's. I went deep on the last breath. I've traveled the world with these guys. I went in just like many of you did. And I just decided I wanted to make it a career. And so I started studying it in academics, then I started rolling out in corporate America, then I started writing my books. But before all of that was a decision, a simple decision. What's the decision you're going to make to double down today and be more successful at this? You took all the time to be here, set the line. This is the line. 1 year from now, you look back and go, Vegas convention, that's when I went it all in. Vegas convention, that moment, that's when I became a billionaire. That was the moment. I didn't even know it. That was the time I doubled my sale. I didn't even know it. You planted the seeds here. You go home and do the work. Who's ready? Say, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
That's what I do. Sometimes, though, you need to also find somebody to fight for on this journey. Because it's going to be hard, as you heard the previous speakers talk about. When I decided I wanted to go into this career, which is becoming a writer and a coach and a teacher, I left a good job. It was a good job, and went into the new space, a new opportunity, right? And here's the truth. When I first started, I didn't have any money. I had to move in with my then girlfriend. She ended up having to buy all the groceries and supporting me as I wanted to become a writer. Every day she would go to a real job. Don't you love that phrase? Real job? She would go to the real job, and I would sit in our apartment at this little fold-out table where the bed was like my extended desk. So I had this little laptop I was borrowing, and on the desk were my notes, my vision boards, my research, my credit card bills, my bankruptcy papers. I was going down fast. I didn't know how to do it. So I got discouraged. Sometimes when you don't know what to do, you don't listen to your mentors and other leaders here, you don't know what to do, but you sit in silence and you don't know what to do versus asking for help. And that was me. So every day she would leave, I would pretend to write that day. I couldn't get inspired, so I'd go for a walk, pretending that the walk would inspire me to write. I would go to famous cafes in San Francisco where all the fancy writers had written, trying to rub butts on the seat with them. I don't know what I was trying to do. Why do people think that? I had one of the fancy croissants because they'd all have green teas and croissants. And I was like, oh, I guess that's what writers do. And I'd sit there and fake it, going through the motions. And then I'd go home and I'd be working. She'd come home late from her commute. And how's it going? Great, honey. How'd you do? Got a lot done. Amazing. Months go by. I'm not breaking through. I'm faking it. I'm not doing the work. Why? I want you to listen to this. I grew up broke. I grew up with no expectations. Old Irish mining town, mostly alcoholic community. I didn't have anything. Problem is, as many of you know, sometimes when you don't have anything, you're real good at just surviving. Because you've done it. You saw your family. You just survived. I was just surviving. Hey, someone was paying rent. I had something to do during the day, but I wasn't in it. Then one night, my girlfriend comes home. It's late. I pretend to start writing. She comes in. I have all this stuff on my bed, all the bills, all the research, all the vision boards. She comes in, kisses me on the forehead to go to bed. Oh, yeah, honey, great day. So she goes to get under the covers and go to bed, and I happen to look over, and she's getting under the covers very slowly so she doesn't disrupt the papers on top of her. And I look over and see my love sleeping under the weight of my bills. And it was just like, because none of us want to see our own inaction be the cause of pain for our families. But that was the truth. I was faking it. Some of you are faking it. You haven't made a demarcation line, a decision point. And I'm not here preaching. I did it too. And then that night, I see her sleeping under the bills. And I just looked over and like, no. I'm not going to let the love of my life be stuck there. I got to fight for us. And that night, I started writing. It just started happening. Because I was going to fight for her. I was going to survive for me. I was going to fight for my family. Who knows what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You better know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Start writing. That night, that week, that month, boom! #1 Amazon bestseller. Boom! That night, boom! 1, 2, 3, 6 best-selling books. Boom! 30 online courses. Boom! $10 million a year. Bam, 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 bam. For 17 years, never stopped.
Wow.
If you haven't written it down yet, you forgot how to learn during the pandemic, write it down. Someone to fight for. Who are you fighting for when you wake up in the morning? Because if you don't know, you'll quit when it's small. You'll think small. I love to show this picture. That's the writing table. That's the bed. That's me faking it. She took that picture. 18 days later, that first book was done. 18 days. Not for me, for her. I remember I started doing my events, and I'd have to ask myself every day to motivate myself because I was embarrassed. I wasn't getting traction. Every day, hey, take a picture of this with your phone. I want you to take a picture and I want you to print it out. I want you to put it next to your computer. Not for me, for you. Just put it on your phone. Because I want you to ask this every day. Every day. Who needs me on my A game today? That means who needs me to be my best today? Is it your mom? Is it your sister? Is it a client who's struggling? Is it somebody in this company who's waiting on you to lead? Who needs you? Why is it necessary? This is called, if you want to dork out on it and read my book, High Performance Habits, we, in high performance studies and coaching, we call this psychological necessity. When it becomes necessary for you to succeed, you do. If it's not necessary, you don't. The problem is, you're the only one who makes it necessary. The world doesn't care about you enough. The world don't see you enough. The world discounts you. You're the only one who will make it necessary for you to succeed. So you have to look at it every day. Every day. I look at this when I started. This was my first seminar room. No one ever believes me. I'm like, no, here's the other angle. No, that's the first event I ever did. No, there's me that's the whole room. I had 20 people. I counted my mom who was there, my sister, and when the guy came in with the water jug, I counted him. And then, this. Everyone always goes, why? I'll tell you why. You saw it. Because every day, who needs me on my A game? I won't do it for myself, but I'll do it for you. I just won't. I don't know why. I could just survive on burritos and long walks. I mean, I'm a simple person. But when I do it for other people, that's where the breakthrough, that's where the millionaire comes from. That's where the person earning 8 figures comes from. That's how the greats are still doing it. Oprah still gets up and thinks about people, not just herself. She could have retired on truffle fries 70 years ago. She said, I'm going. You got to make that decision. The girl who I told you, we just celebrated our 15th wedding anniversary.
Oh my God.
She believed in me when I didn't believe in me. There's someone in your life who believes in you probably more than you do.